Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Morning Java, brought to you as always by our friends at the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where this month they are featuring, highlighting their extraordinary subs, and they're legit.
Like a ton of meat.
I like how you went in both directions. That's what
it is a cubic
too.
block of meat.
There's a lot of it. There's no question about that. Mine is the cheesesteak with the pepper jack. That's my absolute favorite. Let's talk some baseball here. A little bit of Hall of Fame. Because it's kind of that time of year. I wrote a column about my ballot a few days ago. 3 guys on it. I'm not a believer in the whole, fill out all 10, do all 10. I don't get that at all. If you feel that the 3 guys are worth it, take 3, you know?
Yeah, I mean, don't have the top 10 players. I don't think there are 10 players I would vote for if I had a vote right now.
Do you know some of the names that I would have had to check off to get to 10? Like, and I looked at some other ballots, and I saw religiously, like the MLB.com voters, and I always get suspicious about anything MLB.com, with all due respect to the fine people who work there, because it always feels like it's orchestrated by somebody. And I looked at the MLB.com voters, and they were all just, every one of them put 10 in, and I was like, what? Really?
Yeah.
Do you really want these guys in Cooperstown? Anyway, where are you on the Bonds and the cheaters? Here's your loaded question for you.
See, I'm pro Bonds getting into the Hall of Fame. There are other issues with Clemens besides just the allegations that I don't think I would vote for him. But Bonds, I don't know how you can tell the story of Major League Baseball from 1986, 87 through 2007 without Barry Bonds. I think.
What do you mean by telling the story?
I mean, if you were to, Ken Burns is going to do another chapter, you know, theoretically. Is he going to look over Barry Bonds in those 20 years?
Of course he is. It's a big portion of baseball history. But so are other bad things, you know?
I mean
he cheated.
He was a Hall of Famer before he started cheating, too.
Right, but you can't cherry pick a portion of a person's career and say, well, that's the part where they didn't cheat. And say, well, see that right there? I hear that argument a lot, believe me. Well, see the Pittsburgh portion of his career, he was MVP and all this other stuff, then put that Barry Bonds in. No, the character clause is just a general thing. Did you violate the character clause such as it is? You did. You did. Those aren't even allegations. You read these things. They're unbelievably documented, intensely documented. Let me ask you a question.
All right.
Since you're the one that wanted to talk about this. When Barry Bonds hit his home run, the one that broke Hank Aaron's record shamefully enough, because Hank Aaron earned that record. Hank Aaron deserves to be the home run king. When he broke it, where was the commissioner of baseball? Where was Bud Selig?
Oh, he wasn't in San Francisco.
He wasn't there. Why do you think that was? Do you think they maybe knew? This is what I'm talking about here. So when you write the history, when you're Ken Burns and you do that chapter, do you leave out the fact that Bud Selig purposely did not go to San Francisco to be there for that home run?
Baseball's beacon of morality, Bud Selig.
It doesn't matter. But he's represented Major League Baseball.
I know, yeah.
Okay, whatever you think of Bud, okay, it's the idea is that Major League Baseball as an entity itself refused to recognize it.
I mean, they did recognize it.
In the moment.
I don't think one person's non-attendance is going to be like, oh, they didn't recognize it. I don't think that means
Okay, let's go further then. If you're Major League Baseball, which coordinates with the Hall of Fame when it comes up to these sort of things, Major League Baseball and the Hall of Fame, but specifically the Hall of Fame, if they wanted to, they're the only ones that can remove the character clause in approaching the Baseball Writers Association and say, we want this character clause lifted. The moment they do that, my vote goes for Bonds. You know why? Because I don't have a character clause to look at. Now I'm looking at nothing other than data. Why don't they do that?
The pristine of Cooperstown that they like to, you know, project.
Why don't they do it, though? Whether they're projecting or whatever their motives or morals are, whatever. I'm just saying that if they wanted Bonds in, if they wanted Clemens in, if they wanted all of the cheaters in, why don't they just lift it? Here's another one. I could do this all day.
All right.
I could do this all day. Why does Bonds get 50%, 60%, whatever it is of the vote, and Clemens is right up there now in that same case, but Sammy Sosa only gets about 30%.
Sosa wasn't as good as them.
Now, you're going to look at Sammy's numbers and say they're not Hall of Fame worthy, just on numbers.
Home runs, no questions asked. No questions asked. That'd be a home run, or a Hall of Fame.
Harold Baines is in the Hall of Fame.
Harold Baines shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Harold Baines shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but Sammy Sosa was hitting 60, whatever those crazy numbers were. He was one of the greatest Cubs of all time. He had this skip out of the box and everything else.
5-year stretch. But if you look at the career as a whole, it's like 50-something more.
Because he cheated. 30%, but he's at 30%. You know why he's at 30%? Because he cheated. And the same people who leave Sammy at 30% are getting all Bonds this, Clemens this. Pick one. You're either keeping them out because they cheated or you're not. At least my vote's consistent. I'm keeping all the cheaters out until they take the character clause out.
Well, there has to be something to be said about the Bill Belichick's of the world. If you're going to cheat, you may as well cheat your way to the top. I don't think Sammy was ever the best player in the National League.
There were times when Sammy, obviously in the Sosa McGuire years.
That was a great year.
Yeah, he was.
And then he had another 60 home run in 2001.
Look, you, stats guy, can't argue that Sammy's numbers would have him in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think so.
Can't argue that.
I think he's a 50-something WAR player, and that's not enough. Steroids are not.
Yeah, he cheated. That's why, though.
Yeah, okay.
McGuire cheated. McGuire's on the record. He admitted he cheated.
Multiple times, apparently.
Right. Yeah.
It's a conversation piece now. It's like, hey, my name's Mark McGuire. I took steroids.
I cheated. Yeah, exactly. And someday Bonds is going to do the same thing. And let's hope that happens before anybody's dumb enough to put him in the Hall of Fame. That's it.